What's up, everybody? All right, so let's quit messing around. Let's get back into the novel. Today we're going to take care of Fahrenheit 451, pages 81 through 88, and there will be two stops for reading journals in today's section. Today's scene still takes place in Faber's house. This is right after the section where Faber explained the three things that their society needs. One being quality of information, two being leisure to digest it, time to take in that quality information, and the third thing is the right to carry out actions based on what we learn from the interaction of the first two. In other words, to be able to do something about what you learn, to be able to do something with it. And I hope from that last section, one of the things you take away from that last section is it's not just all about books, all right? Whatever kind of artistic endeavor is your deal, whether it's photography, film, music, poetry, whatever it is, or writing, or the visual arts, all of those. If whichever one reaches you the most, can you imagine a world where all that stuff is just stripped down to nothing? Well, so yeah, Ray Bradbury is talking to you, even if you're not the world's most rabid reader. He's still talking to you because I think all of us have some sort of artistic expression that reaches us in some way, whether we're producers of it, consumers of it, or something in between. All right, so let's get to page 81. We're just about halfway down page 81. Montag leaned forward. This afternoon, I thought that if it turned out that books were worthwhile, we might get a press and print some extra copies. We? You and I. Oh, no. Faber sat up. But let me tell you my plan. If you insist on telling me, I must ask you to leave. But aren't you interested? Not if you start talking the sort of talk that might get me burnt for my trouble. The only way I could possibly listen to you would be if somehow the fireman's structure itself could be burnt. Now, if you suggest that we print extra books and arrange to have them hidden in firemen's houses all over the country, so that seeds of suspicion would be sown among these arsonists, bravo, I'd say. Plant the books, turn in an alarm, and see the firemen's houses burn. Is that what you mean? Faber raised his brows and looked at Montag as if he were seeing a new man. I was joking. If you thought it would be a plan worth trying, I'd have to take your word it would help. You can't guarantee things like that. After all, when we had all the books we needed, we still insisted on finding the highest cliff to jump off. But we do need a breather. We do need knowledge. And perhaps in 1,000 years we might pick smaller cliffs to jump off. The books are to remind us what asses and fools we are. They're Caesar's Praetorian Guard, whispering as the parade roars down the avenue, "Remember, Caesar, thou art mortal." Most of us can't rush around talking to everyone, know all the cities of the world. We haven't time, money, or that many friends. The things you're looking for, Montag, are in the world. But the only way the average chap will ever see 99% of them is in a book. Don't ask for guarantees. And don't look to be saved in any one thing, person, machine, or library. Do your own bit of saving. And if you drown, at least die knowing you were headed for shore. Faber got up and began to pace the room. Well? Asked Montag. You're absolutely serious? Absolutely. It's an insidious plan, if I do say so myself. Faber glanced nervously at his bedroom door. To see the firehouses burn across the land, destroyed as hotbeds of treason. The salamander devours his tail. Oh, God. I've a list of firemen's residences everywhere, with some sort of underground. Can't trust people. That's the dirty part. You and I, and who else will set the fires? Aren't there professors like yourself, former writers, historians, linguists? dead or ancient. The older the better. They'll go unnoticed. You know dozens admit it. Oh, there are many actors alone who haven't acted Pirandello or Shaw or Shakespeare for years because their plays were too aware of the world. We could use their anger. We could use the honest rage of those historians who haven't written a line for 40 years. True, we might form classes in thinking and reading. Yes, but that would just nibble the edges. The whole culture shot through. The skeleton needs melting and reshaping. Good God, it isn't as simple as just picking up a book you laid down half a century ago. Remember, the firemen are rarely necessary. The public itself stopped reading of its own accord. You firemen provide a circus now and then, at which buildings are set off and crowds gather for the pretty blaze. But it's a small sideshow indeed, and hardly necessary to keep things in line. So few want to be rebels anymore. And out of those few, most, like myself, scare easily. Can you dance faster than the White Clown, shout louder than Mr. Gimmick and the Parlor Families? If you can, you'll win your way, Montag. In any event, you're a fool. People are having fun. Committing suicide, murdering. A bomber flight had been moving east. All this time they talked, and only now did the two men stop and listen, feeling the great jet sound tremble inside themselves. Patience, Montag. Let the war turn off the families. Our civilization is flinging itself to pieces. Stand back from the centrifuge. There has to be someone ready when it blows up. What? Men quoting Milton? Saying, I remember Sophocles, reminding the survivors that man has his good side too. They will only gather up their stones to hurl at each other. Montag, go home. Go to bed. Why waste your final hours racing about your cage, denying you're a squirrel? All right, we're going to stop there for our first reading journal. What I want you to notice on pages 81 through 84, Faber's raging. Oh, he's letting his anger about what has happened to society be known. Sometimes he seems relatively, he's pretty tore up about it. So on the right, I would like you to provide two adjectives that describe Faber's mood. All right, how is he feeling right now? Two adjectives that describe Faber's mood. Let's jump back into page 84. Then you don't care anymore. I care so much I'm sick. And you won't help me? Good night. Good night. Montag's hands picked up the Bible. He saw what his hands had done and looked surprised. Would you like to own this? Faber said, I give my right arm. Montag stood there and waited for the next thing to happen. His hands, by themselves, like two men working together, began to rip the pages from the book. The hands tore the flyleaf, and then the first, and then the second page. Idiots! What are you doing? Faber sprang up as if he had been struck. He fell against Montag. Montag warded him off and let his hands continue. 6 more pages fell to the floor. He picked them up and wadded the paper under Faber's gaze. Don't, said the old man. Who can stop me? I'm a fireman. I can burn you. The old man stood looking at him. You wouldn't. I could. The book. Don't tear it anymore. Faber sank into a chair, his face very white, his mouth trembling. Don't make me feel any more tired. What do you want? I need you to teach me. All right. Montag put the book down. He began to unwad the crumpled paper and flatten it out as the old man watched tiredly. Faber shook his head as if he were waking up. Montag, have you some money? Some, for $500. Why? Bring it. I know a man who printed our college paper half a century ago. That was the year I came to class at the start of the new semester and found only one student to sign up for drama from Aeschylus to O'Neill. You see how like a beautiful statue of ice it was, melting in the sun? I remember the newspapers dying like huge moths. No one wanted them back. No one missed them. And the government, seeing how advantageous it was to have people reading only about passionate lips and the fist in the stomach, circle the situation with your fire eaters. So, Montag, there's this unemployed printer. We might start a few books and wait on the war to break the pattern and give us the push we need. A few bombs and the families in the walls of the houses like harlequin rats will shut up. In silence, our stage whisper might carry. They both stood looking at the book on the table. I've tried to remember, said Montag. But hell, it's gone when I turn my head. God, how I want something to say to the captain. He's read enough so he has all the answers, or seems to have. His voice is like butter. I'm afraid he'll talk me back the way I was. Only a week ago, pumping a kerosene hose. God, I thought, God, what fun. The old man nodded. Those who don't build must burn. It's as old as history and juvenile delinquents. So that's what I am. There's some of it in all of us. Montag moved toward the front door. Can you help me in any way tonight with the fire captain? I need an umbrella to keep off the rain. I'm so damned afraid I'll drown if he gets me again. The old man said nothing, but glanced once more nervously at his bedroom. Montag caught the glance. Well? The old man took a deep breath, held it, and let it out. He took another, eyes closed, his mouth tight, and at last exhaled. The old man turned at last and said, Come along. I would actually have let you walk right out of my house. I am a cowardly old fool. Faber opened the bedroom door and led Montag into a small chamber where stood a table upon which a number of metal tools lay among a welter of microscopic wire hairs, tiny coils, bobbins, and crystals. What's this? Asked Montag. Proof of my terrible cowardice. I've lived alone so many years, throwing images on walls with my imagination. Fiddling with electronics, radio transmission has been my hobby. My cowardice is of such a passion. Complementing the revolutionary spirit that lives in its shadow, I was forced to design this. He picked up a small green metal object no larger than a .22 bullet. I paid for all this how? Playing the stock market, of course. The last refuge in the world for the dangerous intellectual out of a job. Well, I played the market and built all this, and I've waited. I've waited, trembling, half a lifetime for someone to speak to me. I dared speak to no one. That day in the park when we sat together, I knew that someday you might drop by. With fire or friendship, it was hard to guess. I've had this little item ready for months, but I almost let you go. I'm that afraid. It looks like a seashell radio, and something more. It listens. If you put it in your ear, Montag, I can sit comfortably home, warming my frightened bones, and hear and analyze the fireman's world, find its weaknesses without danger. I'm the queen bee, safe in the hive. You will be the drone, the traveling ear. Eventually, I could put out ears into all parts of the city with various men listening and evaluating. If the drones die, I'm still safe at home, tending my fright with a maximum of comfort and a minimum of chance. See how safe I play it, how contemptible I am. Montag placed a green bullet in his ear. The old man inserted a similar object in his own ear and moved his lips. Montag. The voice was in Montag's head. I hear you. The old man laughed. You're coming over fine, too. Faber whispered, but the voice in Montag's head was clear. Go to the firehouse when it's time. I'll be with you. Let's listen to this Captain Beatty together. He could be one of us, God knows. I'll give you things to say. We'll give him a good show. Do you hate me for this electronic cowardice of mine? Here I am sending you out into the night while I stay behind the lines with my damned ears listening for you to get your head chopped off. We all do what we do, said Montag. He put the Bible in the old man's hands. Here, I'll chance turning in a substitute tomorrow. I'll see the unemployed printer. Yes, that much I can do. Good night, Professor. Not good night. I'll be with you the rest of the night. A vinegar gnat tickling your ear when you need me. But good night and good luck anyway. The door opened and shut. Montag was in the dark street again, looking at the world. And that's what we're going to stop reading for today. And there's another reading journal entry ready for you. I got a quote from page 87, just a couple pieces of text that I'm bringing over. I'm the queen bee, safe in the hive. You will be the drone, the traveling ear. If the drones die, I'm still safe at home. And on the right, what does that mean? What is he talking about? What? All right, so fill in that side of the reading journal. And that's it. That's it for today. All right, so we'll jump back in tomorrow. It looks like tomorrow Mildred has some friends over. Oh, that's going to be exactly as disastrous and pathetic as you imagined. But you know what? Maybe we should feel sorry for them to a certain extent. I don't know. We'll read that part tomorrow and we'll see what we think. All right, Mr. C's out of here. Bye.